Some cities just happen. They grow organically over time. But Chicago? That's a different story entirely. This is a city that seems to have been built out of pure, stubborn will, like a defiant shout against nature itself. We're gonna dive into the story of a city that stared down impossible odds and didn't just survive, it completely reshaped the world. So this right here, this is Chicago's official motto, I will. Just 2 words, but man, do they pack a punch. They perfectly capture that defiant, super ambitious spirit that really defines the city. I will is this promise that Chicago made to itself and really to the whole world. And it's a promise it has kept over and over again. So that brings us to the big question. How on earth do you build a world-class city on a swamp? And look, this wasn't some thought experiment. This was the city's first massive challenge. The very ground Chicago was built on was, well, a marsh, a soggy, unstable swampland. The location was strategically brilliant, for sure, but geographically, it was a complete nightmare. All right, so from swamp to metropolis. How did this soggy little outpost become the global powerhouse we know today? Well, it all started with its location, a really critical connection point, a portage between the Great Lakes and the gigantic Mississippi River watershed. It was founded back in 1833. And believe it or not, it was incorporated as a city just 4 years later, in 1837. I mean, think about that. It went from a tiny settlement of maybe a couple hundred people to an official city just like that. Its location was its destiny. When the Illinois and Michigan Canal opened up in 1848, it was a total game changer. It created a direct water route from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And just like that, the boom was on. And the speed of this growth, it's just mind-blowing. Seriously, look at these numbers. From 200 people to over 1 million in less than 60 years. In just a few decades, Chicago became the fastest growing city on the planet. It just exploded from this tiny frontier town into a massive metropolis, pulling in immigrants and migrants from all over, all drawn by the promise of work and a new start. Okay, on to the Great Chicago Fire. See all that incredible speed, that explosive growth? It came at a price. The city was basically a sprawling landscape of wooden buildings, wooden streets, even wooden sidewalks. It was a tinderbox, just sitting there, waiting for a single spark. 100,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. 100,000 people. On October 8th, 1871, that's how many people lost their homes in a single night. A catastrophe on a scale that's, well, it's almost impossible to even imagine. The fire just carved this path of pure destruction right through the heart of the city, 4 miles long. A huge chunk of the city just gone. For most places, this would have been the end of the story, right? The entire commercial core was wiped out, a third of the population was homeless. The dream looked like it had turned to ash. But here's the thing, and this is so important. The fire destroyed the buildings, sure, but it didn't destroy the foundation of the city's success. Its economic engines, the railroads that made it a national hub, the stockyards that were feeding the country, they were largely untouched. So the city had lost its body, you could say, but its skeleton, and more importantly, its spirit, they were still there. And this, right here, is where the story pivots and becomes one of the greatest urban rebirths in all of history. The fire essentially created a blank slate, a massive, devastating, but ultimately powerful chance to rebuild not just bigger, but way smarter and way stronger. So, out of all that ash came this revolutionary idea. Chicago would rebuild, but this time it was gonna build with fireproof materials. And that single decision, to embrace steel and stone, didn't just change Chicago. It literally paved the way for the modern city as we know it today. This led to the city's most famous innovation. See, they needed to rebuild, and they needed to do it densely on that really expensive downtown land. So Chicago's architects pioneered a totally new form, the skyscraper. In 1885, the home insurance building went up, and it was the world's first, a revolutionary structure held up not by its thick walls, but by an internal steel skeleton. This one invention created a whole new kind of urban density and completely changed how people would live and work in cities, forever. And this wasn't just one cool building, it was the birth of a whole movement. The Chicago School of Architecture basically gave the world the blueprint for building upwards. So when you look at the skylines of New York or Hong Kong or Dubai, they all have their architectural DNA right here, born from the ashes of the Great Fire. But, okay, Chicago's ambition wasn't just limited to reaching for the sky. As the city kept growing, it ran into another massive crisis, one that threatened the health and survival of everyone living there. And the city's solution was, once again, to do something that sounded completely impossible. Here was the problem. That rapid growth created a huge sanitation crisis. I mean, all of its waste was being dumped straight into the Chicago River, which then flowed directly into Lake Michigan. And Lake Michigan was the city's only source of drinking water. You can imagine what happened next. Diseases like cholera and typhoid were running rampant.
The solution they came up with was just audacious. Engineers dreamed up a plan to literally reverse the flow of the Chicago River, to make it flow backwards, away from the lake. They dug this massive 28-mile canal system, creating a brand new path for the river, sending all that polluted water safely down towards the Mississippi River instead. It was, without a doubt, one of the greatest civil engineering feats of the entire era. And you know, this incredible spirit of reinvention, of taking what you have and forging something totally new, it didn't just apply to buildings and rivers. It also created a cultural landscape that's unlike anywhere else in the world. I mean, just think about what it took to create these things. The Great Migration brought African Americans from the South, and their experiences forged the raw, powerful, amplified sound of Chicago blues. You had waves of working-class immigrants creating these hearty, iconic foods like deep dish pizza. The city's fast-paced, do-it-together energy gave birth to modern improv comedy. Even house music was literally born in its warehouses. See, Chicago doesn't just embrace culture, it forges it from pure grit and ingenuity. So when you put it all together, what does this story tell us? From its swampy beginnings, through fire, through plague, Chicago's entire history is this incredible testament to the power of human will. And while I will is the city's tough, assertive motto, this is its official Latin one. Orbs in horto, city in a garden. It speaks to another side of that same ambition, not just to build, but to build something beautiful. The dream was to create a planned, livable, green city right where a city shouldn't even exist. So Chicago's story is way more than just history, right? It's really a lesson in resilience. It proves that sometimes the greatest crises can become the fuel for the greatest opportunities, for the greatest innovation. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? When we face our own fires, whatever they may be, will we have the vision not just to rebuild, but to build something even better than before?